Will he break me? What a bruised reed and smoking flax reveal about God's heart. Ever feel like you're hanging by a thread? Like the faintest breeze could knock you over? You're not alone. But what if God isn't who you think he is in those moments? What if he doesn't crush the weak, but carries them? In this post, we're going to unpack a powerful, poetic, and often overlooked verse from the Bible, Matthew chapter 12, verse 20. We'll explore how this ancient prophecy still speaks directly into our brokenness today. And in the end, you'll see why Jesus isn't here to finish you off, but to lift you up. If you're looking for your next step in faith, don't forget to check out the Spiritual Growth Quiz in the description. It's a quick way to find where you are and what God might be calling you to next. Matthew chapter 12, verse 20, King James Version. A bruised reed shall he not break, and smoking flax shall he not quench, till he send forth judgment unto victory. Sounds poetic, doesn't it? But let's slow down and look at what it really means, and why it matters so much. Setting the scene when life feels fragile. Have you ever felt like a bruised reed? Maybe you've been crushed by betrayal, weighed down by sin, or barely holding on through depression. You feel fragile, dispensable, and unnoticed, like a plant that's already bent and damaged. One more hit could finish you. Or maybe your faith is just barely flickering, like a smoking flax. The fire is almost gone. You're tired, confused, burned out. At best, you're smoldering. And the question creeps in, will God finally give up on me? Will he blow out what's left? Matthew chapter 12, verse 20 gives us an answer that pushes back against every lie. No, he won't. To grasp the full weight of Matthew chapter 12, verse 20, we need to go back to the Old Testament. Specifically Isaiah chapter 42, verses 1 to 4. Behold my servant, whom I uphold, mine elect, in whom my soul delighteth. A bruised reed shall he not break, and the smoking flax shall he not quench. This was a prophecy about the Messiah, Jesus. He wouldn't come yelling, flexing, or overthrowing empires. He would come gentle and just, working tenderly with the wounded. In Matthew chapter 12, Jesus heals a man with a withered hand on the Sabbath, and the religious leaders begin to plot his death. How does Jesus respond? Not with retaliation. He withdraws quietly, heals even more people, and fulfills Isaiah's words. This is key. Jesus never tramples the broken to show his strength. He lifts them to show his love, breaking down the metaphor, bruised reed and smoking flax. The bruised reeds were everywhere in Israel, used for flutes, pens, and measuring sticks. But once bent or bruised, they were considered useless and thrown away. To be a bruised reed is to feel disqualified or discarded. But Jesus doesn't discard the bent. He supports, straightens, and restores. Now, the smoking flax was used for lamp wicks. If it was smoking, it meant the flame was almost out. To be a smoking flax is to feel like your faith is failing, your hope dying, or your purpose slipping away. But Jesus doesn't blow out what's barely burning. He fans it gently until it becomes a flame again. Let's pause and really absorb this. Jesus isn't just kind. He's tender. He doesn't just save the strong, he seeks the weak. He doesn't throw away the flickering, he restores it. Jesus embodies the exact opposite of how the world works. The world says, if you're broken, you're useless. But Jesus says, if you're broken, you're exactly who I'm looking for. This passage shows us that Jesus wins not by crushing enemies, but by healing the broken. His justice doesn't come through violence. It comes through mercy. And that's where the phrase comes in, till he send forth judgment unto victory. His way of bringing justice and triumph isn't through force, but through the cross. Jesus himself became a bruised reed. On the cross, he was wounded for our transgressions, crushed for our iniquities, stripped, mocked, and abandoned. He didn't just sympathize with the broken, he became broken. Why? So that no one would ever say again, God doesn't understand my pain. And on the third day when he rose, he proved that even smoldering flax can become blazing glory. Let's look at some real bruised reeds and smoking flaxes Jesus met. The woman caught in adultery, society wanted her stoned. But Jesus stooped down to restore her dignity and told her to go and sin no more. Peter, after denying Jesus, Peter's flame nearly went out, but Jesus rekindled it with forgiveness. Feed my sheep. The bleeding woman, 12 years of rejection, pain, and fear. Yet one touch of his garment restored her. Jesus never broke what was bruised. He only healed it. And, he still does. So, here are 2 practical takeaways for today. First, be gentle with the weak, just like Jesus. And this includes yourself. If you're feeling bruised or burned out, just stop expecting yourself to perform. Let Jesus hold you. Trust his gentleness. Don't snuff out your own spark with guilt or shame. Also, take a look around. Who in your life is flickering? Maybe it's the friend on the verge of giving up, the spouse hiding behind anger, or the teen drowning in anxiety. Be like Jesus. Fan their flame. Don't break their reed. Second, don't mistake weakness for worthlessness. In a world that really idolizes strength, it's so easy to believe God only uses the bold. But honestly, the Bible tells a very different story. Moses had a speech problem. Elijah was suicidal. Jeremiah was depressed. Paul had a thorn he couldn't shake. Yet God used each of them mightily. So if you feel weak, good. That means you're ready for grace. Now, just imagine Jesus walking by a river. He sees a reed bent and bruised. Others walk past it, but he stops, kneels, and with hands scarred by nails, gently lifts it. Then he sees a lamp, the wick barely smoking. Others say it's out, but he shields it from the wind, breathes gently, and the flame returns. This is who Jesus is. And it's who he invites you to know. And one last thing. If you feel like a bruised reed or a smoldering wick today, know this: you are seen, you are loved, you are not a lost cause. Jesus doesn't discard the weak, he champions them. Take the spiritual growth quiz linked in the description to find out where you are and how Jesus might be calling you to grow, gently and powerfully. In summary, Matthew chapter 12 verse 20 is not just poetic, it's a portrait of Jesus. He is the healer of the bruised, the fan of flickering faith, the victor through gentleness. So the next time you feel like giving up, remember, a bruised reed shall he not break, and smoking flax shall he not quench. Let that truth carry you. Your story's not over. The flame isn't out. He's not done with you yet.